guys, how you doing? I'm in the process of doing my bone broth again, and I thought I would do a quick little live video to show you how easy that it is, because some of you have said that you haven't got time to make your own bone broth, so you're going to go and buy it from the shop, which is completely fine, but I just wanted to take you through the process of how easy it really is to make. So first things first, and that is put your apron on. Very important to put your apron on when you're in the kitchen, because you never know when something fatty is going to splatter on your clothes, and we cook with a lot of fat. So what I've got going on here, I've gone to the butcher and I've got some bones. So I've got a slow cooker that does braising. So I've got it on sear, if you can see here, and it's been going for I don't know how long. It tells me it's ready to count down, but I don't really count down. I've just put it in there. And I've browned my bones. Put this back up here. Hello. Hey Nat. Hey Kylie. This is a very exciting video about making bone broth. And if you make your own bone broth, you probably don't really need to watch it. But this is the way I do it. Now I've got a slow cooker that does the braising, so I do it in here. If you don't have one and you're doing meaty kinds of bones, just pop them in the oven at about, I don't know, 200 until they're kind of the fat is rendered and they look almost cooked, or they are kind of cooked. Me, I just like to chuck them in here. I keep things simple, which is why I've got this slow cooker in particular. So it's a nice big slow cooker as well. Let's pop that over there. So my bones are looking fabulous now. Yay, these ones are beef. I've got my chicken carcasses to do next. I've actually run out of bone broth, which is terrible. I never run out. I've always got it in the freezer and the fridge, and I've run out. So it's a little bit sad. So now I'm going to put this onto slow cook. I've set it for, I don't know how many hours it will let me go. 20 hours. I've got some apple cider vinegar in here. I'm just going to pour that on top. Everyone asks me how much I use, and I don't know if you can actually see what I'm doing there if I spin it around there a bit more. Ugh. This is how much vinegar I use. Very precise. And then I just kind of leave it in there for a little bit to do its thing. Very exciting, isn't it? Bet you're glad you tuned in. Woohoo! If you have any questions, hit me up when you're on there. Because I just got to wait a little while now for the apple cider vinegar to do what it does. Do you guys make your own bone broth? Pretty sure you do, Natalie, don't you? So there's heaps of different ways you can make bone broth, and in the recipe that I've given you, you'll see there's a whole list of vegetables and things that you can put in, and then at the bottom it says, but I don't do that, because for one, I can't be bothered, and for two, sometimes when you cook certain veggies, you've got to do it, you're not doing it yet. Sometimes when you put veggies in, like onion or garlic, well, some people who can't have the FODMAPs, that's what your onion and garlic is, so you don't do that. But if you put the other vegetables in, you cook them for too long. I like to cook mine for 2 to 3 days. Sometimes they leave a bit of a funny taste, like carrots and things and celery. Sometimes don't taste so good. So I found the best way to do it is just pop them in, sear them up, or put them in the oven, put them in here, a little bit of vinegar, and then all you do is add water. Oh, you can't see. I'm adding water. It's so very technical. Let me spin it around here. By the way, this is my phone stand. It's my Thermomix. I know. Pretty clever, aren't I? I've got all the gadgets. So then I just fill it up. This is a 3-litre old milk container. And that's probably going to be almost... yeah, that's about right. So I've got my vinegar, I've got my apple cider vinegar, I've got my vinegar, my apple cider vinegar, my bones, my apple cider vinegar, filled it up with water, and then pop the lid on, kind of slide it to the back, and then the really, really hard part is just you let it go for 2 to 3 days. It is. It's multi-skilling. Good on the Thermomix. Yes, I finally got it back. My blades are working again. My life was very awkward without it. You always go to make something and you think, oh, I've got to remember how to make it without the Thermomix. Anywho, you asked what kind of bones. I've got some other ones over here I just bought. It's all different types of bones. These are called doggy chops, and I just got them from Big Gun. And there's quite a bit of meat on them, as you can see. So they roast up or whatever, sear up, whatever you do with them really, really nicely. My poor puppy sees these and he gets all excited, and then I stick them in the slow cooker. The ones I had in there, let me have a look at what they were. No, it's in my rubbish bin. I don't know what they were. Just some sort of brisket bones, that's what they were. They were brisket bones. I nearly bought some chicken feet today. They had like trays of chicken feet for $3.50. And chicken feet make really, really good gelatinous bone broth because there's lots of the good stuff in there. Bone marrow, you can get all sorts of bones. I do believe if you go into the preparation week, into the nutrition section, into the extra recipes, in the bone broth one there. You're welcome. I love hunting through my rubbish bin. It was brisket bones, so I can remember now. If you have a look in the preparation week, in the nutrition section, in the extra recipes there, in the bone broth recipe, I do believe, the types of bones that are best used. And if it's not there, jump onto mimfit.net. It might be in a bone broth recipe on there, or it might be in my cookbook. I don't know. I've got recipes scattered all over the place. I really should compile them into one location. But yeah, generally the bones don't really matter. I've actually, 2 batches ago, I had lamb, beef, and chicken. I had chicken carcass, all in there, and it made a really nice broth. So, I don't know, play around with it. You can flavor it with whatever you want to. If you want to put your veggies in while you're doing this process, you can try that and see if you like it or not. You just have to strain it all out at the end. Oh, you two haven't made it yet. So when you're finished cooking it, letting it go for, 2-3 days, this is going for 20 hours, and then I'll set it again probably for another 12, and I'll let it go. And then you just let it cool down. You strain it so you get all the bones out. Get rid of them. I give them to my dog because they disintegrate. All the goodness and everything is actually gone out of them. They're not going to splinter and hurt the animals. So he gets the bones, and then the liquid is what we keep. I strain that twice generally to get rid of any gunk that might be in there. And then I pop it in. Wait for it. I pop it in this big bowl, and then I put that in the fridge. I've got multiple refrigerators because I do crazy things like this that take up a whole lot of room. So your bone broth goes in here, pop it in the fridge or in whatever container that you're putting it in. And as it starts to cool down, the fat will congeal on top and form a nice big thick layer. Sometimes it's not thick, sometimes it's thin, of lard. And you can actually cook with that. So you can scrape it off, you can keep it and then cook your veggies in it. It tastes great. Or you can just throw it out. And then underneath, once you've got that solid layer of fat off the top, hey Casey, I'm gonna wave at you too. Get rid of the fat or put it in the fridge for later. And then underneath you'll have a good broth. And if you've used the types of bones, I don't know, all of mine go goopy and gelatinous. I really can't say why. Someone actually told me that theirs wasn't, and I'd found out they hadn't refrigerated it. It was still on the stove. So while it's still hot, it's not going to be goopy and thick. When you've done that and you've got it all goopy and thick, that's when you can pour it or scoop it into ice cube trays and freeze them, and then pop them out and put them in little freezer bags. That way when you make a smoothie, drop 1 or 2 in there. Oh, I forgot an important part, flavoring it. Flavoring it. So this is what I use. herb amount to flavour my broth. So just rewind. We get rid of the bones. We strain the liquid. We pour the liquid into this bowl. Before we refrigerate, you just pour and pour and pour and then give it a stir and have a taste. Pour a bit more until you get it tasting how you want it. So this is sea salt infused with organic garden fresh herbs and vegetables. So much easier than worrying about putting all your veggies in here and overcooking them. So just flavour it with that, pop it in the fridge, leave it in there for however long it takes to set, take the fat off, throw it out or keep the fat, and then underneath you've got your goopy, gelatinous, hopefully, bone broth. So scoop that into ice cube trays, freeze it, pop them into little Ziploc bags, pop one in your smoothie when you're having one, or if you are doing a stir fry or something that needs a little bit of broth, you can just pop a few ice cubes in there. The other thing you can do is freeze it in silicone muffin trays, pop it out, and then you've got, I don't know how big your muffin trays are, you've got that measurement there as well, or you can just pour it into bags and freeze it like that. So it depends what amount you're going to need, and I can never predict what amount I'm going to need, so I use all of the above methods. I have big Ziploc bags frozen, one's made out of the muffin trays, and I've also got ice cube sized bits and pieces, but currently I've got nothing, which is why I've got a couple of chicken carcasses that I'm going to do after this one, and then I'm going to do the doggy chops. So that should keep me going for a while. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an idea of what to do for your bone broth, and if you have any questions, let me know. As always, I'm always up for a chat. But yeah, whatever bones you use should be fine. A mixture of bones are good, and the meaty ones, they're the ones that taste great roasted. Chicken carcasses are really good. You can buy the organic roast or free range roast chickens from Coles or Woolies and eat all the meat off them, and then just pop the whole carcass. Just make sure you take out the stuffing because you don't want that. It's all wheat and gluten and that's bad stuff. But yeah, pop the carcass in there. I usually use 2, and that always tastes pretty good. It has a little bit of extra flavour in it. So you're inspired, Natalie. I'm excited. Try it, because seriously, I've been talking for, I don't even know how long. There's no timer on these live videos. Ages. But I think the amount of time that I spent actually making my broth was possibly 2 minutes. Get some chicken carcasses and do tomorrow. Beef has been great. Yeah, chicken is really, really good. I don't know. It's nice to have the 2 different flavors. I've got a whole drawer in my freezer that's dedicated to bone broth. I've got one of those big floor standing freezers with lots of shelves and some drawers down the bottom, and the hole down the very bottom has got bones. If sometimes I freeze bones in case I forget to buy them and I need to make more broth, so I've got bones in there, and I've got all my different flavors and sizes of broths as well. So with the bone broth, you should be having about a cup a day, so make sure you keep some in the fridge as well as in the freezer. So you'll notice the longer you cook this that the water levels will start to drop down. You can just top it up. If it gets down too much, it's just going to be a much more concentrated broth. So the longer you leave it, the less water you'll have in the end. So top it up and keep it on going. But once you put your bit in the fridge, you'll notice there's not a whole lot left for the freezer, which is why you want to make continuous batches every 2 or 3 days. A cup a day, really, really good. Lots of collagen and things in there. Some people do actually add extra collagen. You can buy your grass-fed collagen from the health food stores and actually add that into the bone broth as well, because you do need to have a pretty good amount of collagen in your diet, and adding it into your bone broth is a simple way to get it in there. So do you have any questions? If not, I'm going to go and take a shower. I've come back from Zumba and Tabata strength. I've just been pumping weights, very exciting, and Chris said, hey, can you go to Underwood to pick up some stuff for me? And I said, yep, it's right near the butcher. So I went into the butcher. Very handy. So I'm going to go take a shower now. But if you do have any questions, let me know. But it's literally bones and vinegar. Collagen in your tea. Yeah, collagen's so good. You can put it anywhere. Bye, Kylie. All right, well, if you do have questions and I'm going to say goodbye now, just write them down below and I can get back to you. But yeah, I'd love to see your bone broth. So send me a photo of it as it's kind of floating around in there. Look at, oh, hang on. I'll try and pick this up with one hand. Whoa, now you're going to get a view of my roof. So that's what's going on in there now. So you can see all the fat already coming on top because it's quite fatty. All those bones were quite fatty. So actually I've heard some people with their broth not scoop the congealed fat off. And then when you heat it to use it, it's in there. But I find it just a little bit, as much as we do love fat, and I have been known to drink butter before, I find that a little bit off-putting in my bone broth. When I sit down to have a cup of broth, I'd rather it not be so greasy. Yeah, so it's all up to you, personal preference, as is everything that we do. It comes down to you and your individual needs, tastes, and what you can be bothered doing. So yeah, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.